Chinese cars enjoy rising popularity in the United Arab Emirates in recent months. Jonathan Acobo files this report.
Marhaba! Several manufacturers of Chinese cars reported of record-breaking sales amid its growing demand in the UAE. According to local motorists, they favor the value for money and extra features they get with Chinese manufacturers, such as Geely, BYD, and GAC. Chinese-owned MG was the fourth highest-selling brand in the UAE from January to March, while car company Geely, the Chinese auto brand which acquired UAE-wide rights recently, also recorded an increase in sales. One resident in Dubai shared that he shared his BMW X5 in exchange for the Chinese-made GAC Trumpchi this year. The decision helped him save 500 dirhams on fuel each month and change his perspective that nobody could make better cars than the Germans. Another 32-year-old female resident who just bought the Auto 3 SUV from Chinese manufacturer BYD said she based her decision on the affordability of the vehicles and realized she could get the right value for money even for the fact she bought an electric vehicle. Earlier this month, China's driving technology WeRide became the first company to be granted a national license to operate self-driving vehicles in the country. Tajubal Kalmazimin Tatiti at Karimidabay kana Jonathan Acobo's My News, United Arab Emirates.
Kuwait announced plans to translate 100,000 copies of the Quran into Swedish and distribute it to the Nordic country in response to the latest Quran burning incident in Stockholm that angered the Muslim world. Melchizedek Cadiz reports.
Assalamu alaikum. Kuwait is underway to print thousands of copies of the Quran in Kuwait and send them to Sweden. At least 100,000 copies will be translated into Swedish and distributed to the Nordic country in a move described by Kuwaiti Prime Minister Sheikh Ahmad Nawaf Al-Hamad Al-Sabah as an effort of educating the Swedish people on Islamic values of coexistence. Tension centered on Quran soared anew after Salwan Momika, a 37-year-old Iraqi Christian who have sought asylum in Sweden on religious grounds, desecrated the holy book by kicking and burning some of its pages outside the Stockholm Central Mosque on the 28th of June. The stunt, performed on Eid al-Adha, one of the most important festivals on the Islamic calendar, enraged Muslims worldwide. Meanwhile, the United Nations Human Rights Council adopted a resolution on Wednesday condemning the burning of the Holy Book as an act of religious hatred. A total of 28 countries voted in favor of the resolution, including India and China, while 12 voted against it and 7 abstained. The United States and several European nations voted against the resolution and argued it contradicted their perspective on human rights and freedom of expression. Barakallahu jami'an. Kanahada Melchizedek Cadiz sa Akhbar SMNI, Kuwait.
The Prime Minister of Solomon Islands lavished China with praises after his week-long trip to the Chinese capital. The details from Saja Hassa.
Solomon Islands Prime Minister Manasseh Sugawara praised China for having no strategic interests in the Pacific and suggested the global economic powerhouse has been treated unfairly by the West. Sugawara commended China for making sovereign decisions based on its own national interest. His week-long trip to Beijing resulted in the signing of new agreements, including the implementation of a police cooperation agreement, which sparked concerns among Western nations, including the United States and Australia. Canberra urged Solomon Islands to publish details of the policing deal with Beijing that allows China to maintain a security presence in the tiny island nation until 2025. Saying it is concerned the deal will invite a regional contest in the Pacific. Sugawara, on the other hand, rejected suggestions by Australia and the United States that the policing deal it signed with Beijing is a threat to the Pacific region peace. The Solomon Islands leader believes China will play an important role in enhancing the capability of its 1,500 police officers in cybersecurity and community policing in the tiny island nation of more than 700,000 people. The Solomon Islands will host the Pacific Games in November to be held in a stadium constructed by Beijing, while dozens of athletes are scheduled to fly to China this week for training. Reporting from Sydney, this has been Sasha Hassa, SMNI News, Australia.